All right, I'm just going to pick up where we left off. Actually, this is the last couple minutes of the guest lectures for this week. So we're talking about attention in the brain, and we're talking about our two systems, our bottom-up system and our top-down system. We left by talking about visual processing. So information moves from the eyes through the visual stream and reaches the primary visual cortex, which is located in your occipital lobe. Now, both top-down and bottom-up attention, when it comes to visual information, are going to rely on this visual processing in the brain. However, bottom-up attention is going to occur quicker than top-down attention, which we'll see in a moment, because it doesn't require additional level areas of the brain like the prefrontal cortex. So you see some salient stimulus in your environment, say like the leopard we saw a few slides ago, while your bottom-up stream is going to send information from visual cortex along what are two streams actually. So a dorsal stream, this is a dorsal visual stream, is coding information about where is this information? Where is the leopard in my environment? Is it just ahead of me? Is it to my right? Is it to my left? So dorsal stream is coding information about where the event or where the item is or where the threatening leopard is. It's also processing what the object you're seeing is in your this would be your ventral stream. So ventral information is passing towards your, in fact, where it's passing towards is your medial temporal lobe or your temporal lobe. That's where your hippocampus is stored. So this is involved in memory. So there's some memory that's bearing into play here. So in bottom-up attention, you're getting both information about where an item is and what that item is. Now, it's not shown on this figure, but before information that comes from the eyes and reaches the primary visual cortex in the occipital lobe, before that information reaches that, there's a relay area in the brain around here, and this is called the thalamus. Now, the thalamus is also involved in preparing, well, it's connected to other structures that are involved in preparing the body's fight or flight response. So a very quick response. So if you did see a leopard, as your brain is trying to figure out what is that thing that I see and where is it? So it's a leopard and it's just ahead of me. Your brain is also preparing your fight or flight response. Now, top-down attention, in addition to requiring parts of your visual cortex, making out where the item is and what the item is also recruiting your prefrontal cortex. So that would be the front part of your brain. And your prefrontal cortex is involved in higher order cognitive processes, things like thinking, working memory, judgments, decision-making. So there's some decision-making component here because you have to decide based on what object you're seeing. Do I want to do something with that object? So in our task we saw previously, do I want to press a key because I saw a square, or do I need to inhibit my response? There's some goal here. And because there's a goal, you have to think a little bit about what to do in response to the object or the items that you are seeing. So in addition to recruiting your visual cortex and processing the visual information, your prefrontal cortex is being used. And so it's exerting this top-down influence, top-down because it's coming from the front of your brain, on what it is that you're processing. So this is also why this system is going to be slightly slower, because it's recruiting even more parts of the brain in order to make a response. So that is all I had on attention. So just as a brief summary, attention selects what stimuli pass on to receive higher order processing. And this could be higher order processing and working memory. And this idea is referred to as an attentional bottleneck. So it's choosing what among the many stimuli that occur in your environment is going to pass on to working memory. However, there's some debate about where this bottleneck actually occurs. Does it occur after sensory memory? Does it occur within sensory memory? And we talked a little bit about the cocktail party phenomenon. And finally, we talked about a two-stream theory of attention, which proposes that there's both a bottom-up and a top-down attentional process. Now, your bottom-up process is your faster, evolutionarily older, and more externally directed, that is driven by a stimulus in your environment system. And your top-down attentional system is slower because it's recruiting higher order cognitive systems like those that are involved in the prefrontal cortex. So it's also an evolutionarily newer system, and its object is to attain some goal-directed outcome. So with that, that's all that we have. So thanks for paying attention, and good luck in the rest of your course.